Hello everyone, Wise Guy Jesse here, and today I'm on my Meditation Guardian, and in between videos I was working on leveling him up and getting him some gear and all that stuff, so I got him up to level 80 like a week ago, and so I was able to run around with the whole roaming Guardian build, and it works out really nicely, stuff I greatly enjoy, so I think I'm probably going to end up making a video of that. I know I mentioned in one of my thief video I was gonna do roaming with him, but that thief was a super squishy, and I kept on getting swarmed by people, so it wasn't going that well. So I figured I'd go ahead and try it with Guardian, and it was going very well. I could have a whole bunch of armor and toughness, so I could actually tank a good bit of damage. So here's um, the whole equipment to him. I got half Cavalier and half Knight. I got Rune of Eagle on there. They have this is this Cabal with a reskin on it, and I threw on accuracy and strength. Most people would go with things like a sigil of air or a sigil of fire, and I'm not sure what they'd probably go with. The second one would probably be like something like force or something along those lines for more damage. I just went with strength just so I could stack up a whole bunch of might fast. Um, this one just has accuracy on it just so I could have a better chance of a crit. Because it had, without the 7%, this would have been down to 39. So I wanted to put that on there just so I could make sure I could do more, or actually crit things. Over here, these are just the Vader things, which soldier items that you get from the World vs. World area. These two are Knight, and this is another soldier item. And at some point I'm going to get those into the ascended items, but still gotta save like laurels and all that stuff. So that's the whole armor and all that stuff to it. Except to, or the traits are 20660. You got a whole symbol thing, increased damage to burning foes, which is really important, seeing how the virtual justice is always doing burning to people, so you get the extra 10 damage, and it also comes real handy if you end up having elementals with you who likes to run with fire. They have the whole Angus if you're struck below a certain percent, so it just ends up letting you block an attack, which could be life-saving from time to time. Since the Meditation Guardian, you're going to want the reduced recharge on meditation spells. The Virtual Courage, which is the one that gives you an Angus. This one's really nice. The gain precision from toughness, which is very nice with the whole it lets you go and getting all the tongue tied stuff. They have all the toughness from all these are being turned into precision, and so that's why I went with part Cavalier, because if you went with like full Knight, the precision on this would have been pretty high up there. I didn't go full Knight because I wanted some for the ferocity, so I could actually do, when I crit, it actually does damage. But seeing how half of it isn't the precision, and it's already up, it would have been like 39. I'm guessing it'd probably be at like 50 something percent, so maybe a little higher. And anything higher than that is kind of a waste of the precision, just because it's a 50-50 chance. It's already a good chance it's going to hit. Anything higher, it's kind of seems like it's going to be a waste. But anyways, here's the whole part that I like was blocking gives you the might, and it's kind of like why I had my sword as the one sigil of strength on there, because I like to stack up a whole bunch of might on this, and so that comes in handy, especially with Shelter, because that blocks spells, so you're getting a whole bunch of healing from. I saw some people run with this Ingot of Resolve, and that's not really a good move. I think most people went with it just because of the healing. It would do almost 9,000. The problem is, when you go to use it, you have like nothing blocking or protecting you during that time kind of thing, and if you're getting hit by a whole bunch of people at once and you go to use it, sometimes you don't get it casted off in time because some people wait for the last second to cast it, so that doesn't end well. But anyways, since it is meditation, you want to go with healing with the meditation skills. They have the whole vigor after crits, which is why I like the whole knight armor and goes with this skill with precision. And so that kind of ties along with this, where you're healing after dodging. Comes in real handy there, because you dodge twice, you got like 1,000 health right there. You could start dodging around a little bit more when you have that, so you can almost dodge almost 3 times and stuff. It kind of depends. Right here is where most people I don't think go with this as a shout, is what I have. Most people, I believe, go with Pure of Heart, so they can have they heal when if the Angus blocks attack, because you have multiple things to give you Angus. You got this, you have the other traits that falls below a certain percent, you're gonna get it. If you rally, you could use it again. So they have so the Angus comes in handy a lot of times, but I go with shout just because I go with a stand your ground. It helped out with it's like when I roam. I don't know if a lot of people have the same problem, but with me, when I goes to roaming, I kept on encountering like rangers. There's a whole bunch of rangers in World vs. World. I know a lot of people hate them, and kind of see why. The most of the time when I run into one, they panic and they just spam knockback and then rapid fire, knockback, rapid fire, knockback, rapid fire. And so to try to interrupt it, I use stand your ground. Now when they use knockback, I'm still moving towards them, and since they're full zerker, you get up in their face and you blind them. Now they can't hit you with rapid fire, and then you start spinning and they just melt. I've had me go, or when I go against like warriors or guardians stuff like that, just using Whirling Wrath, if they're actually standing in one spot and they don't dodge, I could get about 3,500 to 4,000 damage with that thing, and that's with a warrior or a guardian or someone with a whole bunch of defense. You're up against a ranger with one of those, and they aren't being skittish and bouncing around and trying to hide, then you do like 6,000, I think. Something along those lines. You do a whole bunch. So that's the only reason I have that. If you don't want that, you would go with the one connotation of purity, just because it turns all conditions into boons, which is also very nice at this time, seeing how a lot of people have gone over to the one Condi builds. I've seen tons of Condi Thieves and Condi Necros and a whole bunch of people like that, and most of the time when it comes to Thieves, what I've noticed is they will blow all of their cooldowns at once. They'll throw Torment and Poison and Crippling and Blindness and all sorts of one spells, Confusion, a whole bunch of things like that on you all at once, and they blow all their cooldowns. If you use this, you turn them all into boons, then you're going to have a whole bunch of boons. Plus then also, they're going to have to wait for their cooldowns to be over, which for Thieves and stuff, I think their cooldowns aren't that long though, but because they have to, their spells use that when initiative stuff, so that we'll have to wait for those to regenerate to use all of the spells again, but you use that, it kind of helps out a good bit there. But anyways, go with reduce recharge on two-handed weapons, which is really nice when it comes to the whole greatsword, or if you're running with a staff, or if you go with hammer. That will be very nice, especially the greatsword, which is what I run with mainly. Right here, a whole bunch of, you do more damage without endurance. It's kind of motivates you to use dodge more, And right here, you get might by landing a critical hit, which is really nice since, like I pointed out earlier, got a whole bunch of precision. So I end up having like 3 different things that's giving me a chance of might, and most people probably won't go with it, but if you end up there, I mean, there's plenty of builds that are much better, because the whole problem with my setup right now and my main weakness is I have to, for 2 of the 3, I actually have to land a hit for a chance of it. And so my main weakness right now would be like um, blindness and things that would cause me to not be able to actually hit them if they're staying far back and stuff. I'm not able to land a hit. That way I won't be able to get those conditions. But I don't worry about it much because I got like Leap of Faith and Judge Intervention and the Flashing Blade. So I got a couple of things that make me move really close to him. I could also pull him towards me if I'm having trouble with getting to him. So I got a whole bunch of spells like that. So I don't worry about it that much. But yeah, it does come in handy though. I don't know, like I get my stacks of might if I'm able to sit there and start hitting people and they're not moving around too much. If it's like a never heavy armored person, a guardian or a warrior, and they're actually go stand their ground and start fighting me, then my might starts stacking up really fast, and I'll get 10 stacks in a few seconds. Especially if I use something like, if I go to heal myself, that's when you get a whole bunch of stacks of might. And for every might you end up getting, they have, you see it gets 35 power, and so you see it gives you like a 5 second right there. This has the chance of might for 10 seconds, so that's a little longer. When it comes to blocking, you have 15 seconds for that one, and then 5 seconds for that one again. So they have the whole might thing does kind of varies on what it is, but when it comes to the blocking, that's where you get most of your might from. I can get like 10 stacks, and that's an extra 350 power, 350 Condi damage, which Condi damage only really helps with this. But it's still, that extra power does help out a good bit. I'll be hitting people for 1,000 most of the time with this, with the crit thing, like about 1,000 or so. And once I start having might stack up, I will be hitting them for 1,500 or so, which doesn't sound like a whole bunch, but it does help out a good bit with rolling Wrath. That's where you get a good bit of damage too. So it just kind of depends where you go with. I know some people will, instead of running with the sword focus and the greatsword, they'll go with the hammer and greatsword. If you go with hammer greatsword, most of the time what you're going to be wanting to do is throw down a ring of warding. That way your one target will be stuck inside, and now you can just sit there and just wail on them with whatever spell you want through here or along there, and they can't really do much about it. They also had another thing you can do is the whole immobilize, which comes in handy when they start to run away. And you can also have the whole leap thing. So they got just a couple spells in there. I don't really use it that much. The whole reason I didn't was the hammer main chain was like half a second for a hammer swing, and there's like a second hammer swing for another half a second, and then the third attack's like a second and a half, which isn't super long, but it's still enough that it was somewhat annoying to wait for it when you could be using this to hit them every half second. I just didn't really like the long wait. But then to kind of counter it, the last hit gives you like protection, and there's like a whole bunch of effects to it. There was, see, this is the one I run with. So yeah, you see, you smash a mystic symbol into the ground. So yeah, it gives you like protection, all those things. So you could see it does come in handy. I know some people, when they're running in like a Zerg, they'll want you to run with this just because that third hit is throwing down the protection and helps keep everybody alive. But since we're not really in a Zerg, we're going with Greatsword. So there's that thing. I have a staff along with me because sometimes you could use this build in a Zerg. It's not preferred, but you can. I normally throw that over the sword and focus because with that, people are wanting it to keep swiftness because you want your Zerg to continuously be moving. They also have the power. They want everybody to have their strength so they can actually do a lot of damage. You also have Orb of Light. If you double click that real fast, it will blow up right there in front of you, and you end up healing everybody by like 1,000. I think also comes in handy though sometimes when there's like a big group and I'm in a Zerg. I like to just run through and just use Wave of Wrath because that thing I seem to be hitting for like 1,000 damage each hit with that. So I just run through the Zerg spamming that, smacking everybody, and also gives me a whole bunch of loot bags because I'm hitting everybody when they die. Also comes in handy because of the line of warding. Sometimes when the whole moment where Zergs are stacking up about to collide, you throw that out in front of you, and so it kind of separates the front line from the back line. And if they're not together, then allies can't get to the front line to do waters to hill and all that stuff. It just kind of delays them, or they'll have to blow their stabilities to get through it. And if they end up blowing their stabilities, then later on when they actually really need them, it won't be there. Also, I'd like to throw that down and throw this on top of it, because then when they fall down, they're falling down on top of this one symbol and they're just taking a whole bunch of damage. So it's just little things like that you could do. I don't know to point out, my one staff has the Sigil water in there, just because, partly because I don't know, I just kind of like the look of it. Uh, I think that was also part of the collection for some reason. I could double check. Yeah, that's part of the reason right there. Is a exotic collection thing. But then I also kind of like it the most for us because of a chance on hit to actually heal everybody. And I think the healing only does like 300 or 400, and it has that 5-second cooldown. But I mean, it's not on a crit; it's just a chance on hit. And seeing how Wave of Wrath hits like 5 people, this gives you a really good chance that it's going to activate. So that's one of the things you could do. Then when it comes to foods and the utility items to use, like stones and crystals and oils, if you're running with a whole bunch of the Cavalier, so you have a whole bunch of ferocity, you're going to probably want to go with the oil so you can actually have precision, so that ferocity is actually being used. If you're running around with this kind of build, you probably want to go with stone so you can have more power. And if you're running with full night, then you'll probably definitely want to go with the stones then for sure, because you're going to want to, you already have enough precision there. And the foods that you probably want would be, it kind of depends on what's going on. I know my favorite food to run with is the Lemongrass Poultry, because they have the 40% reduction in the cooldown, or 30% or 40% reduction of the condies on you. So that's almost half the duration. And if condies are long lasting, you can always use this and get rid of them. And it does healing, so that's kind of nice too. Also, along with that lemongrass, you get like 70 or plus 70 vitality. You already see it, the whole health right here. I think I got some kind of bonus from like the World vs. World bonus thing, but most of the time I think it's about 16,000 when I get that 70 vitality. I end up going up to, it's like I want to say something close to, I don't know, almost 17,000. And if I go off and get guard stacks and all that stuff, my health's up to like almost 19,000. So that's really nice seeing how Guardians are supposed to be one of the lowest health classes, and to make up for low health, they're supposed to have a whole bunch of healing. So having the extra vitalities is kind of nice. But there's other foods that you go with too. Like if you need it, I think there's some foods that will convert like toughness into something else, like 6% toughness into power, it's food and not an actual stone or something like that. I forget what kinds there are. I think there's several different ones, but they're kind of expensive. But it's kind of nice if I think there was one that gives toughness into power, and that one also comes in real handy if you're not having much trouble with when condi's being placed on you. I would say go along with that one because you're already using it to get precision. If you get more power, then that just means that when you have a crit chance, your powers will be up higher, and you're just going to be a whole bunch more damage. They have another thing you might try is well, it's if you're moving around a whole bunch. I've seen some people use that seaweed, and it's not really a high suggested one to use. The only reason I say it might be useful is you do a certain percent more damage when you're moving, and while you are front line and you're melee, you're going to be moving around a whole bunch to get people's faces. They also had another effect to it was I think you get like 15 seconds of swiftness after killing someone, so that could be really nice along with the guardian, especially when you're roaming, because you don't have any swiftness. The only time you can use swiftness is if you have a staff on you. And if you have a staff, you're missing out on being able to use spells along here or hammer or whatever you want. So that's just one of them that some people might try out. You test out and see which ones work best for you, kind of thing. It kind of varies. So there's that whole step to it. Don't think there's much else to say, but that sums up most of it. So I'll probably end up going ahead and end the video here. I plan on doing roaming with this, so I'll probably have roaming videos up at some point, just because, like I said earlier, I wanted to try roaming with Thief, and he was just super squishy, and every time I go fight someone, it always seemed to be Rangers, and Rangers are really fun to hit when you're a Zerg or Thief, because they have no toughness, and so you could crit them for thousands of damage. The only problem is, when you try to retreat and try to use one Shadow Refuge or anything like that, they're just spamming knockback and rapid fire, and you're getting knocked out, thrown off this side, so on. So it never went well. With this guy, I've been attacked by several people at once. I've managed to run through an entire Zerg into a towers before with this guy. Mostly because Smack Shelter, that gives you the 2 seconds of the being basically untouchable, you blocking everything, and then you throw this on Nell, you're invincible for another 2 seconds. And I click this before, of course, so I don't get any kind of knockbacks or anything like that on me. But yeah, I could run through a whole Zerg with this thing, and if I'm not using those spells, I've had times where I run into camps and stuff to take it over with a couple of people, and everybody will focus me, the guards, and I've had 2 players focus me before at once, along with all the guards, and still was able to stay standing the whole time while my teammates were able to take out everybody. You kind of have to drag them all together and hit them with start spinning and smack them all. But still, I mean, you have to have a good bit of toughness to be able to take all this stuff, and so far my roaming's been very successful with this guy. So yeah, you can see right there, 2 stacks of might, 1 hit. So anyways, that will be it for this video. So thanks for watching, everybody. If you enjoyed, go ahead and hit the like button. If you haven't subscribed yet, I'd appreciate it if you did. Also, if you are part of Tarnished Coast and you would like to have a guild, I'm guild leader of here for some fun. And I don't know, some people may have seen me before. I know I've been running around and had a couple of new members, so there's probably some black-haired JQ person watching like, hey, that tag looks familiar. Yeah, that's probably me running around, derping around a lot. This guild thing, even though it shows like World stuff, it's one of those guilds where you just jump on and say, hey, who'd want to go, and you insert whatever event here, and then you see who wants to join you. I'm starting to feel some lag. Oh, okay. So say I felt lag. That's what it was. So anyway, yeah, whatever you want, go ahead and message me in game or whatever if you wanted to be in the guild. Also, if there's any suggestions to the videos, feel free to go ahead and leave those in the comments, but do it in a respectable manner. I don't like when people sit there and they start sentences with, hey idiot, you should, and something like that. It's just people being ballsy because they're not face to face to whoever they're talking trash to. They're hiding behind a computer screen. So anyways, yeah, if you got any suggestions for different foods to try out or any kind of switches to the build, whatever, go ahead and mention it. And I guess I'll see you guys next time. Bye.